It's a jam-packed Friday episode of Locked On Canucks, where the biggest story isn't about Filip Hronek's debut or the Canucks' 7-2 thumping of the San Jose Sharks. It's about beloved broadcaster John Garrett announcing his retirement. Kyle, let's get it on. Like Cheech and Chong, it's Begsy and it's Bhawan, and you're listening to Locked On Canucks.
You're Locked On Canucks, your daily podcast on the Vancouver Canucks. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello, happy Friday, and thanks for hitting the play button on today's episode of Locked On Canucks. My name is Trevor Beggs, Canucks writer and part-time credentialed media member for Daily Hive Vancouver. And before we dive into the show, I want to thank you for listening to Locked On Canucks, your team every day. Subscribe or follow for free on YouTube or wherever you listen to podcasts. And as always, I'm joined by my co-host, a guy who I think would do a great job being a color commentator, Kyle Bhawan. What's going on? Not to hype you up or anything.
If I replaced Cheech, maybe I could back it up because the nickname, kind of connects. Not going to lie, kind of connects for BC reasons. But man, I would definitely piss off a lot of viewers, man. They're still not used to the voice. It is what it is. Welcome to Locked On Canucks. Kyle Bhawan, Trevor Beggs, right? Every day we're doing it. Enough about me, though. We'll get to the comments at the end of the show because we saved the best for last. But again, enough about me. Let's talk about the Canucks. And I guess let's not do that. Let's talk a lot about John Garrett, for real, because he's been doing it a lot for us for 2 decades for me. 2 decades for me, right? Jim Houston, John Garrett, John Shorthouse, John Garrett. And he's been supplying great commentary, great color commentary. He's been such a good sport. And not to get so negative off the rip, but when he made the announcement, I got mad. I got mad because of the last decade of Canucks hockey. You know what I'm saying? I feel as if less people watched,
that's fair, man.
and then less people got to experience the greatness of John Garrett, and he probably had less fun doing the job. Now I know being a color commentator, privileged job, it's pretty fun. You're up there doing your thing. But at the same time, I mean, the games were just so meaningless. And, yeah, we'll talk more highly about it, I guess, in a couple minutes. But, Bagsy, steal the show because, reel it in, okay? Get the optimism here. Talk happy only because we're talking about John Garrett.
Yeah, I got to say, I did have quite a few, news and notes to touch on in regard to last night's game. There's Hronek's debut. I think Talkit had some interesting post-game quotes. But the story is John Garrett.
Yeah.
I mean, this guy spent the last 20 years, dedicating his life to covering the Vancouver Canucks and doing it in such a fun way, such an engaging way. And there's all kinds of stories poured in last night about people who have met John Garrett over the years and had positive interactions with him. I was listening to the post-game show on sports on the way home, and some guy said he kept running to John Garrett at the Delta Save on Foods. Shout out to Delta. Shout out to
Dude,
Save on Foods.
On that note, I served John Garrett a plate full of Wendy's, for real. No,
really?
I worked at the Delta Wendy's. On 120th, I worked there when I was a young chap. He ordered a couple meals for him and the friend that he was with. And I swear to you, man, this is so cringe, but I was a young chap. I was, like 16 years old? I literally told my boss to, push the order, like let them know that we'll bring it out to him. And we'll cook it fresh so I could just, prepare it fresh and walk it out to his table. I did that for John Garrett, man. Real talk, the guy... Again, did it for me for 2 decades. He entertained me. He made me dream. A big reason why I want to get in front of the camera and talk behind a microphone and do this thing is because of John Garrett. For real. And I think it's not just because, he was the guy doing it for the Canucks and the Canucks are the team or the entity that, again, got me into broadcasting. I also believe that because of his skill set, John Garrett, Jim Houston, Don Taylor, I'll add Don Taylor to the mix, but I was about to say Dan Murphy. They're pretty excellent at their job.
Yeah, 100%. And Dan Murphy, by the way, rocking such a sharp suit last night. I give him kudos to that. He appreciated that, but just like a nice sharp green suit. Anyways, beside the point, Dan Murphy looking like a stud. John Garrett, Kyle, you're the real MVP, man. Getting that fresh food for John
Gotta
Garrett.
do it, man. Come on, man.
But yeah, I mean, I actually met John Garrett a couple times myself. So as a kid, I was a young, church-going lad with
Oh
my
man.
family, and I remember turning around in church one time. There's a part of a Catholic mass where you shake hands and offer a peace offering to the people around you, and I turned around and John Garrett's behind me, and I was like a starstruck, like little 7, 8 year old kid. I just remember like, dude, I almost fell over, man. And he knew, like he was like smiling at the time. I'm like, whoa, it's John Garrett. And then I went to a Canucks game with my buddy Tony, and we ran into him outside the arena one time. And I'm personally not the kind of guy to like really go bother players and ask for photos and autographs. But my buddy's like, John Garrett, we need a photo, and he just like came. He's like, oh hey, how you guys doing? And ended
Yeah.
up like posing for a selfie with us after the game. So there's all kinds of stories like this. This guy was just a genuinely good human being, and again, really, really good at his job.
Mhm.
I will say, definitely had that Canucks bias, but like, come on, it's a
Why
regional
not, dude?
broadcast.
Why
Like
not,
you want
bro?
that in your
Dude,
broadcast
I
for
don't give
sure.
a F, bro. Have the bias for the West Coast, the best coast of Canada. Have the bias for us. It's all good. Do you remember back in the day, 2011, 2010, that era, embrace the hate, embrace the hate, embrace the hate? That was our thing. I know it's kind of not connected to this whole feeling around John Garrett, but just you know what? It's all good. It's all about us. It's all about us. It's all about us. It's us against the world. And John Garrett was definitely part of us, and he'll always be a part of us. And there was a note that he made that he would be involved in other types of broadcasts with Sportsnet. Maybe he'll be on a panel or something. Who knows? Who knows? I'm
Yeah,
curious to see what
it
that's going to be all
sounded like
about.
he might. Yeah, I'm not. We'll let you know on Locked On Canucks when we get some news on it. But it sounded like he might do some regional games, maybe some games that are in Vancouver on a part-time basis.
Okay.
But we'll have to see how it goes. I know that was just some off the cuff reporting from Sat Shaw on the Sportsnet post game show last night. But yeah, we'll see. But he's been doing this for so long, man. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
I got to say, I was writing an article for Daily Hive this morning about potential replacements for John Garrett, which we're gonna get into here briefly. But just a couple interesting things I learned. So in 1984-85, when he retired, Harry Neal, the Canucks general manager at the time, actually offered him a position to be the Canucks assistant general manager. So
Nice.
it's crazy how Cheech's life could have changed. But then Harry Neal got fired, and that never materialized for John Garrett, and that's the reason why he went into broadcasting and ended up being on Hockey Night in Canada, doing games for quite a long time in that part time role. And then during the 1994-95 lockout, this guy actually worked for UPS to cover some bills.
Oh wow.
So yeah, he just again, even almost 10 years after his NHL career, this guy kept grinding it out to
Nice.
pay some bills, and ended up living his dream. Covering or traveling around covering this hockey team. So huge shout out to John Garrett. He's for forever and always will be a legend in this market, and I think there's like multiple generations of fans who are going to remember him.
Oh yeah, man.
Uh,
I want to add this too. It's and I think we can all relate to this because there is that West Coast bias, and he was just the voice of the regional games, and he was always there. It was always, always so disappointing growing up, and the Canucks were a competitive team, always in the playoffs. It was so disappointing not having him, be a part of those broadcasts when the playoffs rolled around. So I just remember that being a standout moment year in and year out for my understanding and appreciation for John Garrett and how, yeah, I just always wanted him to be involved in the games I was watching.
yeah, yeah. Hey, makes sense, man. I mean, he's our boy. He's our boy at the end of the day.
Yeah.
Kyle, I do want to ask you who will be our next boy or girl, for that matter. I did write about some potential replacements for John Garrett this morning in a piece for Daily Hive. If you want to read all 13 of the people I suggested, go check it on Daily Hive. I can't do Rob dirty by just giving away all 13 on the show, but shout out to Rob Williams, Daily Hive. But Kyle, I'll ask you quick. Any people in mind, or any people in mind that you have for replacing John Garrett as color commentator?
I saw somebody mention Bieksa, but I don't feel as if that's good for the game. I think Bieksa needs
What?
to. No,
Oh, I see. I see.
I
I see
think.
what angle you're taking.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I think Bieksa needs to be more, more of like a face value type of person on a Saturday night. He just does so much for that panel. You can't take him away. It's going to take away from the game. You get what I'm saying? That's the type of
yeah.
value that he needs to bring
That's a great
to the
point.
table. He has that charisma. I don't. Damn, bro. Could it be Randeep Janda? Could he step in there? He could. He could.
Randeep made my list. I love what he's brought to the
Yeah.
table on Sportsnet 650 this season. I think his analysis is sharp. It would be a pretty big jump. This is his first full-time season
Hmm.
doing it for Sportsnet Radio. But I think he's ready for it, man. I love the way he analyzes the game. Another great down-to-earth, humble dude.
Whoa.
So yeah, lots of love for Andy Janda. I'd love it if he was in that role.
Oh, dude,
Another
I
guy
thought of
who I put
something,
on the
man.
list.
I thought of something, man.
All right,
We've
go for
mentioned
it.
him a couple times, man. Chris Faber, man.
Yeah, it's you know
Yo, he's got the
guess I'm
voice
going,
too, man.
yeah, Chris Faber would be excellent. You know, he yeah, I
Did,
shouldn't say this on air, but I'm going to say it anyways. I wanted to put him on the list, but I think Rob wanted more established candidates. You know, Chris
oh
Faber's
man,
done some AHL gigs. You know, he stepped in for the Abbotsford Canucks and done some color
yeah,
commentating for a few games, and he told me he's got some BC IHL experience doing color commentating. You know, Chris Faber, I think he's going to get there one day,
he's
man.
gonna get
I
there,
could see
man.
him. Yeah, I could see
Faber's
him
got
being the
the
color
ethic,
commentator with the
and
Canucks.
he's got an iconic voice, man. In the underground scene and what he's done online, we all appreciate it, and maybe it's gonna take some years for like the suits to appreciate it or whatever. But I I don't know. I just heard it. I actually heard it in my head. And I'm like, oh crap, dude. You know who would be really proud of that? Botchford, man, for real. That
Yeah,
just be a crazy
100%,
moment.
100%.
Yeah. Anyways, go.
Uh, let me toss out one more name, and then if you want to learn the rest, go check out my article coming out in Daily Hive. Scott Ridtool. This is more of the broadcaster realm. There's a lot of former players on my list, but Scott Ridtool, I love his voice. I actually think you and Scott Ridtool have similar voices. So when people poo-poo on your voice, I just think of how beloved Scott Ridtool is in this market. And I think people are a bunch of hypocrites. I gotta stop myself from
Bro,
swearing
man. Okay,
sometimes.
so
Successful right
you know
there.
how you say like the market poo poos on my voice, right? Like, the market it hasn't all come to us yet, right? We haven't got the whole brass, the whole masses, from the market, hearing this voice yet. But it's funny how like the hockey fans don't like it. But bro, I went on a podcast a month ago. Coaches Don't Play, tons of viewers, tons of listeners, and dude, the ladies love my voice.
Dude, I love your voice, man. Your
I'm
voice is
saying,
sharp.
dude, it is what it is.
I think I mumble a lot more than you do, to be honest. So, kudos to the listeners for putting up with me, and to a lesser extent you. But I think your voice is sharper and crisper than mine, buddy.
Dude.
Um, but speaking of tire pumping, my goodness, we're going to talk about Filip Hronek and Dakota Joshua in our next segment. We're going to call it Trevor's Notes, presented by Kyle. But before we do that, let me tell you why I'm able to support my family. I use Indeed.
Tell them.
And if you're hiring, you need Indeed, because Indeed is the hiring partner where you can attract, interview, and hire all in one place. Indeed is the only job site where you're guaranteed to find quality applications that meet your must-have requirements, or else you don't pay. Instead of spending hours on multiple job sites hoping to find candidates with the right skills, you need one powerful hiring partner who can help you do it all. Indeed partners with you on every step of the hiring process. Find great talent through time-saving tools like Indeed Instant Match, assessments, and virtual interviews. With Indeed Instant Match, as soon as you sponsor a post, you get a short list of quality candidates with resumes on Indeed that match your job description, and you can invite them to apply right away. Plus, you only pay for quality applications that meet your must-have requirements. No, Kyle, one of the things I love about Indeed, and I can't. There's some confidentiality going on, but at my day job, we're hiring right now, and guess what we're using?
Whoa, whoa,
We're
whoa.
using Indeed.
Okay.
Yeah,
Damn.
just letting you know, man.
Hey,
Just
we're
letting you know.
using
It's a
Indeed
real
too.
experience.
We're using Indeed too. Remember, man, if you want to be our assistant, $14.25 an hour. All right, just deliver us coffee. There you go.
Man,
Put in the comment below. Comment below if you want the job.
We've said this 3 times this week, and you have changed the hourly rate 3 times. So I don't know. Any candidate that wants to apply for this job, I don't know if you can trust Kyle Bhawan. I'm just going to say that. But if you're an employer, start hiring right now with a $75 sponsored job credit to upgrade your job post at Indeed.com/lockedon. Offer valid through March 31st. Go to Indeed.com/lockedon to claim your $75 credit before March 31st. Indeed.com/lockedon. Terms and conditions apply. Need to hire? You need Indeed.
Perfect. Locked on Canucks. Kyle Bhawan, Trevor Beggs, Hronek, man. Yo, you're a lucky dude, man. You've been living a crazy life because so many things are happening, right? Job's going well, daughter's doing well, wife's doing well. Hey, newborn coming soon. You're doing busy things, and then yesterday you were in the building for one of the biggest days in Canucks history.
Holy, that's a stretch, man. But I'll let you have the floor.
No, it's It's something that, again, I said yesterday, and I'm not going to take it back. I just, again, think that next season matters so much. We've already been through so much in the last 10, 11, 12 years, and there was an opportunity, again, for the Canucks to be more patient and give the fans what they want, and they decided to pull the plug on that and trade for Hronek, and it really just sets the tone for the importance of next season. And, I think we've seen what Pettersson can do and Hughes can do, and I think the only person that could have a say in this debate is Demko, because I was about to say, who's the most important player going into next season? And it's Filip Hronek or Thatcher Demko. Real talk. Because they made the trade, and they also need this guy to be so good. So I know it was only one game, and it was against the worst team in the league, and it was against that fool James Reimer. How did you feel about Filip Hronek's play?
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't anything incredibly flashy, although, I liked it overall. He made some plays at the blue line that I found very interesting. He did a little kind of fake one way on the blue line, fake the other way. He did a couple no-look passes. And, at the end of the day, man, this guy played 24-25, leading all Canucks skaters, including Quinn Hughes. And, I don't think that was the plan going in, but Christian Wolanin played like 90 seconds of the game and was injured really early on. So Hronek ended up playing 7:58 with Ethan Bear, where Bear played left defense. He played 6:32 with Hughes, and he played 4:30 with Burrows, where Hronek himself had some time playing left defense. So guy was all over the place, man. He got a little bit PP1 time with Quinn Hughes as well. They didn't look great, but again, first game, hard to really judge. But overall, I like his poise. You can see that he likes to rush the puck. He wasn't overly physical on the boards, but he doesn't let guys get by him either. So, honestly, all in all, a really solid debut. I'm definitely curious to see how he does against some stiffer competition. I mean, the San Jose Sharks last night, their first line was Noah Gregor,
What?
Tomas Hertl,
Noah what?
and Noah Gregor.
I don't know what that guy did. That guy's something else, man.
It was funny. I was sitting beside Patrick Johnson from the province in the booth last night. He's just like, Noah Gregor, didn't he write for Nucks Misconduct? He was talking about Noah Strang. Shout out Noah Strang, now a member of Canucks Army. But
Yo, that's a crazy joke, dude.
It took me 5 seconds. I was like, "What the hell?" I'm like, "What are you talking about, man?"
No,
I'm
that's
like,
a good one, dude.
I see where you're trying to go with that. But yeah, great debut for Hronek. And another guy who stood out to me last night was Dakota Joshua.
Oh, come on, man. You're going to really do this? We're going to talk about Dakota Joshua, fourth liner. I know he scored 10 goals in 68 games. I know Rick talk, it's like, oh, this guy's going to put up 20. Dude, let's keep it on Filip Hronek. Can I ask you one question? What were the other people in the press box saying about Filip Hronek? Because you were in there. What are the other heads saying?
Honestly, there wasn't a ton of talk about him. I know Harmon Dial was up there, and he was kind of debating whether to do like a shift by shift breakdown or like a thematic breakdown.
Oh my God!
Hronek's play at like the power play, even strength, penalty kill. But again, it wasn't an incredibly flashy game from Hronek. Like there wasn't a lot of discussion about like, oh, look at this play, look at that play. It was just he was out there doing his thing. He was solid. It wasn't a spectacular performance, but he was solid last night.
Is he going to be like Dan Hamhuis, but maybe with 10 more points? Maybe with 20 more points? No, 15 more points?
I don't know. I don't think so. I think Dan Hamhuis was a defense-first guy, get the puck out of the zone quickly. Filip Hronek really likes to carry the puck.
Okay.
He's not really a get at the puck on a stick and get it out quick. He wants to carry the puck out of the zone. So I don't see a ton of similarities with Hamhuis. I mean, we'll see kind of how things transpire as we get more time to view him. But interesting quote from Talkett last night when he was asked about Hronek's play, and I'm paraphrasing, but something along the lines of, "I like his swag."
There you go, the swag, man. The swag matters,
Hronek's
man.
Swag, buddy. Yeah.
Swag matters, man.
I know this is a Cheech first episode, but that'd be a funny title for the photo description. Hronek Swag.
Hronek Swag. Oh man.
But,
oh man.
Again, solid performance, and again, he played with 3 different defensemen last night for extended periods of time. So it was an interesting debut for Hronek for sure.
It was, and we'll carry on with your notes, okay? Trevor's notes brought to you by Kyle. This is going to be a regular occurrence on this program, Locked On Canucks, right? I'll let you talk about.
I stole your thunder, my buddy.
No, it's all good. I'll let you talk about Dakota Joshua now, okay? So you tweeted out that quote. Talkett believes there's more in him. Pulled out the whole 20 goals thing. Talk to me about Dakota Joshua. You've been to more games. You've watched more games. Do you actually think that's possible? Maybe not 20 goals, but is he going to be a perennial 14-goal scorer, 15-goal scorer? Do you see that actually happening with Dakota Joshua?
Yeah, I don't know. I could see an outlier season, maybe where he has 15, but I personally don't see him as that kind of guy. But I like that quote took me by surprise, to be honest, when I asked Rick talking about Dakota Joshua when he said he could score 20 goals. And the quote I put on Twitter was paraphrased, but he basically said like there's another level to his game. He talked about he basically rolled his eyes at his own comment. But he's like, I know I keep talking about big summers, but Dakota Joshua's another guy's got to have a big summer.
Oh my
And he
God,
basically
man.
said like he didn't want to put pressure on the guy, but with if he puts in the work, he could be a 20-goal guy in the NHL. And
Oh my
I honestly
God.
like the little eyebrow raise, like as I'm looking, talking in the eye. I was like, really?
Big
You want
summer.
Dakota Joshua?
What's
But
going on with this? What's going on this summer? Big summer for the Vancouver Canucks, and it kind of makes sense. It kind of aligns with what I've been saying, right? Straight up, next season matters. So
yeah,
this summer matters, bro. I don't think anyone's going on vacation. I don't think any of these players are going home. I think they're staying in Vancouver for the 2 months, 3 months, and
I
they're
got
just
to give a
trading with
quick shout
Talkit.
out. I got to give a quick shout out to Gemma Carson Smith of the Canadian Press. When uh, I think Jeff Patterson followed up on my question with like, "Are you going to work out with these guys?" And basically said like he's not going to work out with them, but he wants to be involved in the process. He's not just doesn't want to just pass it off to the trainers and be gone for 4 or 5 months. He wants to be involved in the process. And then Gemma Carson Smith followed up with, "Are you going to turn from Rick Talking into Rick Steves and travel around the world to work out with these guys or watch these guys?" I was like, that was a golden question. Shout out to Gemma Carson Smith. That was hilarious. Rick Steves, in case anyone doesn't know, he's it's like a traveling documentary filmmaker that was on like PBS for a long time. But
Oh
that was
man.
that was a great little
Well, he
quip right
might do
there
it,
from
man.
Gemma.
Talkit might have to do that. Things have to change. So, with next season mattering and things having to change and this being a big summer, I think, we might have to see it, man. Talkit might have to be involved in every step of the way. Yo, he might have to go out with the boys, yo, for real. This summer, couple music festivals, right? Couple concerts, couple bar crawls, right? Just team bonding from the coach down. 100%. Okay, last question from Trevor's notes. Kuzmenko was not satisfied with 35 goals. He wants to get to 40 to 45. This is such a fascinating story. And what a character, what a bright spot for the Vancouver Canucks. And this is, again, I'll say for the fourth time, next season matters because that way the league can know more about Andrei Kuzmenko and we'll get more out of him. And he's just a fun guy. The NHL needs guys like this. And since this guy's planted in Vancouver, I just feel as if he could be one of the most popular players in the NHL. Kuzmenko is that guy.
Yeah, 100%. Honestly, I was in that scrum and I didn't even hear him say that originally. It was only on my drive home when I heard the interview again. I'm like, oh man, he said that. But yeah, I mean, that's the kind of guy you want on your team, right? If he hits 40 this season, and, he's got 11 games left to do it. It's not impossible. He needs 5 goals in the next 11 games. So yeah, that's the kind of guy you want on your team. And I think one of his first comments last night that I did actually hear was that basically uh, he said this before his 45 comment, but basically that he wasn't playing great and he wasn't satisfied with the way he was playing either.
Okay.
And maybe part of that probably has to do with the benching from Tuesday night against Vegas, but
Yeah.
I do hope this guy continues to be motivated
Oh,
because this
man.
Canucks team, despite individual successes, has a long ways to go.
Such an unbelievable player, and I know we're getting close to the break, and we'll end it out on this. Just the ability to be disciplined and resilient when things do happen. You're getting benched, and also the ability to do things in tight places in the middle of the offensive zone and just dictate play. Like, dude, the goal he scored yesterday, it was kind of similar to what he did against Ottawa, just a little bit, and it's I feel as if we're always going to get that from this guy. And I like how he's always asking for the puck, too. There's just a lot of confidence with Kuzmenko. PD knows his skill set very well. He trusts Kuzmenko. That's going to be a really dangerous 1-2 punch for years and years and years to go. You're listening to Locked On Canucks. We got to talk about FanDuel. Trevor, are you going to win some money or what, man? Is it happening? Is it happening?
Yeah, I don't know if I'm going to win money, but you have the chance to win money by using FanDuel. The midway point of the NBA season is here, and now is the perfect time to download FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook, because new customers get a no-sweat first bet up to $1,000. That's bonus bets back if your first bet doesn't win. Just download the FanDuel Sportsbook app. It's safe, secure, and super duper easy to use. Then you can bet on everything from the money line to point scores to threes drained. Whether you want to bet on my Trailblazers, whether you want to bet on Kyle's Golden State Warriors, whether you think LeBron and the Lakers are going to rise up the standings, you could do it all by combining your bets for a bigger payout with same game parlays. LeBron James. So don't miss your chance to get your no sweat first bet up to $1,000 in bonus bets when you go to fanduel.com/lockedon. That's fanduel.com/lockedon to learn more. Make every moment more with FanDuel, an official sports betting partner of the NBA.
If you're listening to this or watching this, hey, I'm sending you blessings. Make a bet, win big, play responsibly, use FanDuel. Okay, Locked On Canucks, Kyle Bhawan, Trevor Beggs. We got to the end of the show, the best part of the show, right? We gotta end it off with the people in the comments. I got a couple here. We had one from JDAC, and he commented, I'm in fact watching from Surrey. We did ask the viewers if we did have any Surrey viewers here. We're trying to do it. Okay, this is Surrey's Canucks show. Real talk. Trevor Beggs, Kyle Bhawan from Surrey, the heart of Surrey. We know a lot of us are there. We've seen the visuals. Okay, we saw it today too. Okay, we saw it today too. ESPN is coming out
Oh
with
no,
a 30 for 30 documentary covering the riots from 2011, right? And they're probably going to chime in on what happened in 1994 too. I didn't see any of that going on in Scott Road in Surrey. There's buildings
fair
there.
point, man.
There's a
Fair
passionate
point.
fan base there. There's thousands of people there. Didn't see that happen in Surrey. I saw Bondi tweet at me. Oh, the spotlight, like he took a little shot at Surrey. Come on, Bondi. We weren't there. We weren't there. Okay, that happened in Vancouver.
Spoiled Burnaby kid. Get out of here.
Spoiled Burnaby kid. Nothing was happening like that in Surrey. Surrey, dude, I wouldn't be surprised in 45 years if the Canucks moved to Surrey, especially if there's no Stanley Cup, for real. We have to change it up, okay? For real. Shout out to Surrey. Shout out to the Surrey Canucks, and shout out to that commenter. We also got this one too from Marky Mark, and it's like this guy predicted about what we're going to talk about on today's episode because he said this on yesterday's episode. One more question for the boys. What do you personally think is a harder job, and which would you be more preferable to you? I might have said that wrong. Color commentary or play-by-play. Dude, color commentary is nothing against Cheech. That's the dream job. I don't want to know the numbers. I don't want to do that stuff. I don't want to have to focus that hard. I just want to chime in every 45 seconds about what's going on. The color commentary job is one of the dream jobs in the world of sports.
Yeah, I'm actually going to disagree with you. I see where you're going. Like the color commentary job is the easier one, is the dream job. But yeah, probably my dream as a kid was to be the play-by-play guy. So yeah, that would maybe if you and I, rise up the ranks here and there's an opening, I think you and I'd be play-by-play, you'd be color.
Yeah,
that
for the Surrey Canucks. Yeah, for
the Surrey Canucks. Yeah, when we're like 67 years old. Let's go, buddy.
Man. Who else are they gonna bring out, man? We rep in Surrey when it comes to the voices, right? The Vancouver Canucks hockey.
Yeah.
Before we get out of here, I do want to chime in. I don't know if Trevor. Actually, I know Trevor's gonna want to chime in on this because he's more about this than really anyone I really know. But yo, the NHL, bro, what the F is wrong with you? For real. It's gross what's happening right now. I'm not surprised, but it's definitely not good enough. And the sport it's in a gross spot. All these players not wanting to wear the jersey, it's just the pride jersey and not doing the most when, again, trying to welcome in this. Sometimes I don't even like using the words like these communities, blah, because it's like, it's people. It's nice people. It's good people. It's not that deep. And stop being hypocrites. Yo, how could Eric Stahl and the other Stahl say they're not going to wear the jersey for religious reasons, and then there's pictures of Stahl wearing the Pride jersey in Montreal, and then Stahl a couple years later, after not wearing the jersey, tells the reporters, "I didn't wear no jersey." You're such a loser.
What a coward, man.
Dude.
What an
You're
absolute
not even a coward, bro. You are just a hater. And dude, you're scum. For real, man.
You should just come out and say I'm a bigot. That's what he should come out and say, to be honest.
Dude, it's been a really, really tough year when it comes to this game. Not even just tough year. It's been like a 4 or 5 year stretch of just story after story after story about how not inclusive this game is, and it's gross, man. It's really gross, and it's not as if I've had enough of it, but I have had enough of it.
I've had enough of it.
It's just you got hope. You hope that it will change, but dude, this year's been messed up and it's gross. It's kind of gross covering this game too because you want it to grow, but bro, this game does not deserve to grow. It doesn't.
Yeah, I will say, and maybe I'll take the glass half full approach on the way out, but I think most people understand that what Stahl's doing, what James Reimer is doing, what Ivan Provorov did, it's disgusting. Okay, there's not really a place for it in today's game. I was happy to see Reimer get jeered by the Canucks crowd last night. I was cheering for him to give up the touchdown, which he did. And yeah, you know what? There are signs of hope. You look in the WHL, and Luke Prokop, who is an openly gay player drafted by the Nashville Predators, plays for the Seattle Thunderbirds. He got traded there recently. The Seattle Thunderbirds, again, are a WHL contending team. I believe it was the Thunderbirds and the Kamloops Blazers played a WHL game, and they wore their pride jerseys for the whole game in a game where there's an openly gay player on the team. So there is hope for this game with the younger generation going forward. And there's no place for guys like Eric Staal being an effing coward, man. Dude, just get out of here. Mad, what a crappy way for them to end their career. Like Eric Staal and Mark Staal are on the way out the door, and this is how you want to end your career? Get out, man. Just retire today. Get out of here. We don't need you.
Yo, like, dude, it's all about love. You got to lead with love, and you got to support nice people. Simple. You got to support nice people. Stupid, yo. Anyways, Locked On Canucks, Kyle Bhawan, Trevor Beggs. Give us the outro. I got to go. I got to go to a meeting, okay?
All right, let's get out of here, buddy. Thanks for listening to this episode of Locked On Canucks, your team every day. Now make your second listen game to game. Locked On NHL. Every moment, every performance, every result. Locked On Game to Game covers every game from across Locked On NHL with local analysis that only Locked On can deliver. Follow Game to Game on Locked On NHL, available on YouTube and wherever you get podcasts. I'm Trevor Beggs. He's Kyle Bhawan, and we thank you for listening to Locked On Canucks.
Peace, 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 peace.
Your Locked On Canucks, your daily podcast on the Vancouver Canucks. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.